Hey, what's up, everybody, and happy Sunday morning. Hope you are doing well. Welcome to Coffee with Chris. This is our fifth episode of this video series, and it's just one that we do here on the channel. And it's a way for us to communicate, have some dialogue, have kind of a running conversation from both sides of the camera. And normally this comes out every weekend in addition to our normal videos. So thanks for joining us. If you haven't seen this before, and if you have, thanks for coming back and hanging out with me. So last week we posed the question about what kind of videos would you guys like to make, or like to see us make, I should say, in regards to some of the business side of the woodworking. And what kind of things would be helpful for you? We already talked about we're going to be doing a video coming out very soon on Excel spreadsheets and how we set up some of our record keeping stuff for our business. And hopefully that'll be something that'll help you guys out. So, what else would be helpful for you guys? What else would you like to see us do some video topics on? And so that was what I posed at the end of the video last week. And so I got some comments on that. Now we got several, and normally I've been putting these up on the screen and reading the entire comments. For the sake of time, since we got a few more of them, I just kind of want to go over the topic points from the comments and just kind of talk about those real briefly. Again, these are all things that we can definitely look into making a video about, and most likely will, because they're really good and ones we've thought about already. But just want to share some brief little thoughts on them maybe as we go along. Also, don't forget, we're starting sharing builds on the channel here, so I'm going to put my email right below me down here. Don't forget to send in your builds every week. If you got a project you're working on, something you're building, feel free to send it in. I'd love to share it on the channel. If you want to provide some commentary about it, why you're building, what it's for, what it's made out of, any of those things, feel free to do that as well in the email. And I'd love to share it with the viewers and everybody, so we can just have a good time enjoying the handiwork and the hard work of everyone. Now, I know some people may have a little bit of hesitation about doing that. We are on YouTube, and people can be judgy, let's just say. And so, but I want you to know, don't let that scare you. If we've got comments that aren't polite, that aren't, nice, I mean, constructive criticism is okay, as long as it's done in a respectful and kind way. If there's anything that's not, and it's not appropriate, believe me, it won't stay on my comments page at all, and it sure won't be read or put on the video. So, man, don't be worried about that stuff. Feel free to send them in, and let's all have a good time enjoying each other's work. And man, even share what stage of work you're at. If you're a beginner, that's okay. If you've been doing this forever and the thing looks like $1,000,000, we'd love to see that too. So feel free to send those in. Speaking of that, before we get going on our comments, I did have one fella send in build pictures for this week, and so I wanted to share those. And this guy is Matt Barbie, and he sent in some pictures of a baby crib that he is in the process of building, or pretty close to being done building, for his very first child. So check this out. I mean, this thing is beautiful. The wood looks gorgeous. The construction looks fantastic. And so he said on his comment that he was hoping to maybe work into selling some furniture and doing client work in some time in the future, but he's nervous about getting himself out there, as we all are. And I told him, I responded to him. I said, "Man, that is fantastic. If his work, if the rest of his work looks anything like this crib does, Matt, you don't have nothing to worry about, my friend, because that looks amazing. Seriously." I told him, when my boys were younger, they're 15 and 19 now, but I remember having baby cribs, but I had to buy them because there's no way I could make something that looked this fantastic. So great job, Matt. Thank you so much for sharing. And man, if that's just a sample, feel free to send in more stuff. Love to share it. Love to share it. And congratulations again on that first kid, your first child. Um, well, let's get into some of the comments for this week. And like I said, I kind of broke them down. Several of them were pertaining around the same thing. And it's a video we had already, my wife and I had already planned on kind of making. And it's talking about craft fairs, farmers markets, and those sort of things. And so one of them is from Kelly 9274. Now she had a pretty lengthy comment for me, and I answered her back in the comments. You can definitely read that on last week's video if you want to go in and read the comments. But basically, what she really was interested in for future video wise is around the setup, the planning, the packing, the traveling. If you travel a distance for craft fairs or shows, um, really the whole thing, setting up your booth, setting up your table, and all that stuff. And so I think she's kind of wanted a overall package video that kind of walked through all those things, some tips and tricks and hints on all that. And that's definitely a video that we have planned coming up in the future. Might have already made that video, but life happens. We had a few vendor shows or craft fairs that we had planned on doing already this spring. One of them got rained out and was rescheduled for a weekend that my son had a tennis tournament, which in turn got rained out again the next weekend. And so that's happened to us a couple times, and so we haven't done these shows yet, which we're a little behind what we'd like to be. Our next one is scheduled in June that we're going to, or we don't have something else planned, and so we may end up turning that one into this very video. I think that'll be fun because I think we'll probably take footage there while we're setting up and all that good stuff, and so we'll try to get there a little early so we can have plenty of time to take some video and talk and film some while we're doing all that. And then, of course, we can come back here and talk about all the other aspects, out in the shop. So, but yes, craft fair setups and plannings and all those good things are definitely something that we're going to do, Kelly. And thank you for watching and for commenting, taking your time to do that. And I certainly wish you luck on your journey. I know you said that you're a full-time nurse. Again, like I put in the comments, thank you so much for the time and your dedication to that craft. Both my brother-in-laws were nurses. One of them still works in the medical field in another aspect. One of them has gotten out of it, but he did at-home health for a while too. And so it's a very important career to be in and a field. And we thank you so much for doing that. But mostly, good luck on your upcoming endeavors. I know you got a desire to work your way into retirement with woodworking. And he said you do some carving and things like that. And so good luck with that. And send some of your carves in. Kelly, I want to share them. Send them in so we can look at them and all sharing the good times and all your efforts. So thank you again for writing in. Our friends at Alder and Elm Woodworking, they also had one thing pertaining to the craft shows, and they were wondering if we could talk about getting people to stop at your booth. So I got some thoughts on that. We'll include that in the big video around the craft fairs. But just real quick off the top of my head, there's some real obvious things that I'm going to say this and you're going to go, well, duh. But the truth is, it seems like it'd be obvious, but it's not so much to some people, I think. And one of the simple things that you can do to get people to stop at your booth is to be present, to be active while you're at the booth, while you're at the shows. We go do shows, and I would say half the booths or tables or whatever you want to call it, the tents that are set up, people sit in their lawn chairs back behind their product. Sometimes you can't even see them because they got stuff, tables or shelves or displays piled up. They never get up. They never interact with people walking by. They never engage anyone. Even worse, some of them you can actually see them, but they're playing on a laptop. We were next to a guy last fall. Uh, they were in a booth and he was on his laptop playing video games with his headphones on during the whole time during the fair, and people were stopping by looking at stuff, and I'm thinking, what in the world? If you're going to take your time to get ready for a show, to make product, whether it's woodworking or jewelry or whatever, you're going to take that time. And it's a lot of effort to set up and break down. I mean, that wears me and my wife out. But if you're going to take time to do all that, be present during the show. I mean, if you're there to sell things, obviously that's why you're doing the event. Man, you got to be present. And as a guy that had 20 something years in retail experience, managing retail stores, as you guys know, um, I don't understand that, you know. And so, my wife and I, when we do our shows, we do have two chairs that we take with us, like the fold out camping chairs. Um, One of us always tries to be standing at one time, unless it's just dead. There's nobody even walking around. But as soon as somebody gets close, we stand up. But even when people are passing, if one of us is tired, we try to alternate where one of us is always standing. If people are at the booth and they're looking at our table, we're of course both up and being engaged, and those sort of things. And not everybody's going to stop, guys. Sometimes people are just going to walk by because they're not interested in woodworking or whatever it is you're selling, and that's okay. Still say, "Hey, how's it going?" Acknowledge them, nod at them, whatever it is whatever it is customary in your area. Because they may get to the end of the show and they may get done looking at everything. They may stop at a food truck and may go, "Man, I'll go back and look at those whatever that was again that you've got in your booth." And maybe just you acknowledging them, they'll remember you a little bit better. So it doesn't take any effort to say hi and be nice. So, man, just be active and be engaged. That's one way to get people to stop at your booth. And as far as like the chairs go, one thing my wife and I have seen that we're going to add to our craft fair kit, if you want to call it, is taller camp chairs. We've got some people in some of the shows we went to last fall, and they had like bar height camp chairs. So even when you are sitting down, you're up above your product. Sometimes we stack, we do tiers on our tables for our product and things. And if you're in the regular low camp chairs or whatever you're sitting in, you may be down behind the product. So the taller chairs are something we're going to add, because then even when it's slow and we're sitting, it is up above the product, and you're in eyesight of the customer, or they're in eyesight of you. So now another obvious thing would be, of course, the way you set up your booth. The more eye appealing, the more eye catching you can make your product and your setup, the better. And we'll go over all this stuff more in detail on that particular video. But obviously, the more you can get people to look at your booth, the better chance they're going to stop. So again, obvious type things, but stuff that amazingly so people don't think about. Another thing that let's see, our friends at Alder and Elm had mentioned is maybe doing a video around, or part of a video around, customer feedback, dealing with feedback. Obviously, that's a big part of any time you have clients or customers, you're selling something, is dealing with feedback, especially if you're talking about higher priced items. Now, craft shows, little $5 and $10 items, they're going to buy the item, walk away, never see them again or hear from them. But, if you're doing customer builds, client projects, custom work, obviously you may run into a time when you've got to deal with the customer. The feedback's unpleasant. If it is, then, I got some thoughts on that. Now, being in retail for as long as I was, obviously I'm used to dealing with customers, both happy ones and upset ones. And so those things are always going to be there. The one thing I'll say is this: there's an old saying, the customers are always right. I kind of agree with that, right? I don't think they're always right. Sometimes the customer is right. Sometimes we're in the wrong as the vendor or the seller, the maker, or whatever we are calling ourselves. But sometimes the customer doesn't understand the process. They don't understand the wood. They don't understand Well, yeah, they normally can be this color, but once you start cutting into wood, you never know what the grain's going to look like. So, yeah, this one's got more grain in it than the one you saw on my website. So it's going to be a little different, or whatever the case may be. Things like that happen with woodworking, obviously. So sometimes it's misinformed customers. So maybe not always 100% right, but I'll say this: no matter whether the customer's right or maybe they're not, I think the way you approach them has always got to be in the respect that they possibly are. And what I mean by that is this: I think you have to have the professionalism and the courtesy and the respectfulness, even when they don't, which is not easy to do, but even when they don't, you have to approach them and dealing with the situation with those things, with that headset and heart set. Um, because if you don't, one, that could lead down a road to bad reviews. It could lead down a road to gossip if you're a small area you're in. When I worked retail those years, the one thing I always told everybody is, all the employees when they came in, you get 20 good compliments, nobody ever hears about them. You get one complaint out of 200 customers, everybody knows about it. And especially in our day and age with Facebook and online and everything else, just be respectful, be mindful, and you know, do the right thing in the way you treat them, even if they're not treating you well. You always got to be the high road and always got to be the professional, no matter what you're doing. That's just my opinion. Um, and then let's see, talking about dealing with slow sales and periods of slow sales. So, yeah, I mean, that's going to happen. If you're a vendor, we've done vendor shows, for example, if you're doing craft fair type sales, we've done the exact same show 3 weeks apart in the exact same location, been done well one show, dead as a doornail another show. I think that just happens. Same weather and everything. I mean, it just, sometimes people are out, sometimes they're not. When you have other avenues you sell on, if you sell online or Etsy or anything like that, obviously the economy is going to cause dips in buying trends. There's a lot of different things can factor into, anything retail oriented that you're selling or marketing can have ups and downs, right? Highs and lows. Um, so there's a couple things, just quick thoughts on that, just while we're here. One of the things would be now, if you're doing the sales as a side hustle, it's just a fun gig on the weekends, you don't rely on the income to pay your bills or anything like that, maybe no big deal. Maybe you spent some time on the products, you didn't make anything off of it. Okay. But if it's something to where you rely on it for a primary income or a secondary income, or like we've mentioned in videos before, to help pay medical bills or kids, sports or whatever it is, and it stings a little bit when the sales are low. One of the things that we've talked about, and not to go off on a tangent on another subject, but we've mentioned in videos before. I have mentioned in videos before. We're a debt-free household. And one of those reasons is so when you got to change jobs, or you have back surgery, or sales are low with whatever you're doing, or you have extra expenses, it's just a headache. It's not an emergency. And that's why my wife and I believe that it's so important to not be in debt, to not owe credit cards and cars and money on all those typical things that most of us do. And we used to have all that stuff, no doubt about it. But that was one reason why we felt like it was so important to work for many, many years to get out of debt. And so when you're in a situation where income is not coming in like you want it to be, it's less stressful. You're not panicking how you're going to pay this bill and this bill and this bill. So that's just a personal tangent there. Is try to live a lifestyle where you can absorb those ebb and flow a little easier, and not be so tight on the finances. That helps in a personal manner. That helps with the slow sell periods. Another thing would be take advantage of those slow sell periods. That is a great time for you to work on a new skill, learn a new thing, a new part of the hobby. I haven't sold anything. There's a video coming out, or sorry, just came out 2 days ago. We're putting this out on Sunday. Just came out Friday night, doing a power carving of a dough bowl that I put out. That's the first client project I've had this year. And the first several months I wasn't doing anything because of the back surgery, and so it's been a slow sell. And we haven't done any farmers markets or craft shows yet, as I said. So um, I've been taking that time to work on a few things I need to do in the shop, work on this channel, obviously, and then learn some new skills. The power carving stuff that I just talked about. I want to learn the lathe. I've got the lathe that I'm refurbing for my father-in-law, and I want to learn that. So take that time during slow time to up your game, improve yourself, maybe come up with a couple new products to try at the next vendor show or the craft show. See if they sell. You don't have to spend a fortune on them. Just make a few of something. See how they do. It may become something that's a good seller for you down the line when the market picks back up. So there's another way to kind of handle the slow sales time frame. And then one more, we've got another comment from our friend M Blackford 100, and he said he'd love to see a video about the like a comparison of sales stream avenues. For example, like online versus Facebook Marketplace versus your local fairs and shows, and maybe some strategies for sales comparing those different avenues. And at the same time, how do you market for those different avenues? Quick thought on that, obviously, like Facebook Marketplace, for example, that's pretty much is the marketing. You post your product. Now you can post different colors of it, and you can certainly saturate Facebook Marketplace with as many of your listings as possible with different varieties of the same product or different products. And that gives you more of a chance to get yourself out there to somebody to see your product. Um, in terms of local fairs and craft shows and things like that, one thing that we found that we did is, use your social media platforms to advertise that you're going to be at those shows. Put on Facebook or Instagram, or if you've got a local social media platform, I think there's one in our area called Neighborhood. I think that's the name of it. And put on those things, hey, this coming Saturday, we're going to be downtown, whatever it is, set up at the XYZ show, and come see us. We're going to have this, and this in our booth, and check it out. We're doing a sale, we're doing a discount, we're doing first 20 people get 10% off or whatever it is. So use your social media platforms to market for those local events, and then put pictures of those items you're going to be having. Maybe you'll sell them one on one, and they don't even get to the show, which would be good too. And then as far as online goes, and I don't have a lot of experience with that. That's one thing that I have in my plans for this year, before the end of the year, is to have an online platform and selling some items and products. I just haven't got around to getting to those yet. But obviously, you could use your social media platforms to advertise for those too. You can share and tag and all those other things that you can do on the different platforms, your website and your online stores and those sort of things. And then some people go all out. You can pay for ads and marketing and boosting of posts and things like that. Most all platforms have that options as well if you want to spend the money on those things. So there's definitely different ways you can do that. We did have a couple more comments. Had one guy just said all of it, everything. I need videos on everything. I'm new to this and I want everything. So, man, we will get you and just keep watching, and hopefully we'll eventually get to everything you're looking for. And my brother-in-law commented on the mug I had last week in last weekend's video, the one that said "Hi Michael" on it, or "Hey Michael," and he just said that I should sell those on Etsy or in an online store or here on my channel. And which, hey, if we ever get to the point where we're doing something like that, a "Hey Michael" mug, maybe we'll stick it on there. Maybe people named Michael will buy it. I don't know. We'll see. Um, but man, guys, thank you for all the comments. Thank you for taking your time again to write in, for watching the channel. both the coffee with Chris's and the full length videos or the regular videos, because these get lengthy too. And man, don't forget, send in your builds, send in your projects. Don't be timid about it. Send them in, and let's celebrate what you're doing. Uh, the creativity that people come up with amazes me. The talent and skill level, and it's usually people that don't think they do things very well, and they're fantastic at it. So send those things in. Here's my email again. Send them to me. Give me a description if you want to of them, and we'll share them on the shows every week. All right, next week's topic. Let's do something fun. Let's switch it up a little bit. Let's get off the business stuff for a week or so. Let's talk about tools. I want you to tell me, what is your go-to tool in your shop? What's your favorite tool? The thing you can't do without? I did some shorts on the channel about these things. I got a lot of responses actually on them, but send them in now. I want to know what your go-to tool is, your favorite tool, tool you can't live without, and why. Is it something you inherited from your grandfather, from your dad, if it's an older tool? Is it something you bought sometime and you just used it a ton? What's the deal with it? But what is your favorite thing to use in your shop? What's something you can't do without? And I guarantee you a lot of people are probably going to have similar things. And I don't care if it's a screwdriver that your grandpa gave you a long time ago and you've never gotten rid of, or if it's a fancy saw or table saw that you bought and, it's a saw stop and you feel like the safety features, you can't live without them. Whatever it is, send those to me in the comments. Drop them down below, and I'd love to know what they are, because I definitely got things that are my favorites, and things that I can't live without as well, or things that I could do without. So appreciate you guys joining me. Thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you next time. Take care.